Let's talk about something that changed everything for me, learning how to control my emotions without pushing them down. If you ever felt overwhelmed, reactive, or just done with being thrown around by your feelings, this is going to help. Because real confidence, it's built in the moments where you choose your response instead of losing your peace. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. Emotions are messengers, not facts or directives. Emotions are normal, but not always truthful. So even though you're feeling a certain emotion, doesn't mean that's necessarily exactly what's going on. It means that there's something inside you that was triggered, and this emotion's coming out. You can feel something deeply and still pause from reacting. I think that's the thing is like it's a huge thing too, especially when you're in like that emotion of being angry and stuff, because it's so easy to get caught up in it, and then you do things that you regret, or you say things you regret, or you know, some people throw things and stuff. But if you can take a moment and you can, you know, breathe or do something in between that to create that pause, then you think about it and you realize maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe there is some truth as to why you're feeling that way. Not everything you feel needs to be acted on immediately. Like it's something you should give space to for anything. Even you know, when I felt had issues with friends and stuff, like I was so upset, I was like, you know, I'm gonna just unfollow them. Yeah, they don't get to see my life anymore. But then I was like, after I was like, you know what? Don't do anything right now. Don't do anything. Just sit with the feeling. Be just uncomfortable. Sit with it. And then once I sat with it and I realized, like, you know what, honestly, at this point, like, if this is the situation, then I'm just going to take myself out of it, and that's fine. Doesn't mean I need to make a big statement and unfollow and be like, yeah, you're no longer going to have access to my life. It just means at this point, I'm not reaching out anymore, and I'm going to go my separate ways and do it quietly. And that is how I responded differently. And in doing that, it actually made me feel better because it gave me back that power and not give them that power that they had initially. So you need to like observe your emotions and pause to think why is this emotion is coming up. So there's been many times I've been triggered and like maybe I got jealous or I got upset or something, and I was like, well, why do I feel like that? And then that is a beautiful opportunity for me to ask myself some personal questions as to why that, like, what is really going on here, because there's something else, it's something deeper. If it's like jealousy, sometimes I find it's because, you know, maybe they obviously have something that I would want. And then it makes me think, well, there's no reason I can't have that. And that's just something now I can work towards so I can eventually have it. I think a lot of times, like a common one for women and men too, actually, everybody, is like maybe like you see somebody who's like thinner than you or like more in shape. And then that might create some jealousy. But now, before I would, you know, like feel bad about myself and all that, but now I'm at that point where I'm like, okay, you know what? I do love my body and I love where it is. And if there is room for improvement, which I mean, there's always room for improvement in anything in your life, always be trying to do better, then like that's the opportunity for me to be like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to focus on exercising and healthy and keep doing that. Be very kind to myself, and like doesn't mean I can't have that. Why can't I have that and feel good about myself in that way? So that's why you should observe your emotions and pause and then think and go deeper and see why it's coming up, because there's probably another reason for it. Another good thing to do is like feel it. So feel it and then acknowledge what it is. Like name the emotion. Like, okay, I'm feeling angry or I'm feeling a little sad. This kind of actually made me feel sad. Even if it's just like a little hint of sadness, just to acknowledge that this made you feel that way, and then think about it and then react. And then you can choose your response. Your power is in the pause. That moment where you stop, breathe, and choose your response instead of reacting, that's where your self mastery grows. So you want to just take that minute, think about it, and then decide how you're going to react. Because a lot of people, when they first react, they do things that they regret. Or maybe it was they react and it's kind of like more blown out of proportion, than they think back about it and they're like, that actually was like totally a misunderstanding and didn't need to be blown up that way. I have little kids, and I feel like we as an adults, we have our inner children, and a lot of times, like when I get upset and stuff, like sometimes I get angry, and I have like an adult tantrum, and I have to like tell my kids, I'm like, okay, I'm really sorry for reacting that way, like there was no need for that, and I'm sorry. And it was literally my inner child like having a tantrum, and like I just try to do better each time. I try to like put the pause for me would be walking away, getting myself like a minute. I was like very overstimulated once, and I said to my kids, I was like, mommy's very overstimulated. I need a minute to myself. And I went in the other room, and my son, he gave me like probably like 30 seconds. And then he came in and he's like, hey, like, how are you doing? Just checking in. And I was like, oh, thank you for checking in, but like, I still need some time. He's like, okay, well, I'll let you be, and then I'll come check in you again. And my son's 4, and he was doing that. And it was just amazing that they got to like even see how like a healthy way of reacting when you're in that feeling overstimulated, instead of me freaking out. Now I'm not perfect. I have many moments where I'm screaming and I don't like it. So that's why like regulating your emotions is super important for me, because I have little kids and I have to be the one to regulate their emotions. And I feel like so many people don't know how to do that, because I feel like we weren't really taught at our age. So now it's an opportunity for me to teach my kids that. So my son, he always, like we were talking about Inside Out, and then he was talking about like the characters. And of course, mommy was anxiety, because I do get anxious. And I think my daughter was Joy, because she's a very happy little child. Not all the time though. And then he said he's angry, and he does have like a little bit of a temper. He's a 4-year-old boy. He doesn't know how to control it, and we're teaching him. And I said to him, well, he's like, I am angry. And I was like, well, you're not angry. You get angry, you feel angry, but that does not mean you're angry. And I constantly have to tell him, like, you're not a bad kid. You're not a bad kid. You just don't know how to regulate your emotions. And that's what we're working on. And he's aware of it, and he's consciously trying to work on it too. And it's a discussion in our home about regulating emotions and how to do it, and taking moments. And my kids call me out on it too, like, you're not regulating your emotions. So it's amazing, like, to have little kids and have them reflect that back to you. But then, yeah, like how you respond creates your reality. Like your response is what tells people how they should treat you, and how you handle stress and conflict and pain. Like that's just how you respond shows all of that. And it tells people like what you'll allow, and how they should treat you. Some techniques that help with regulating your emotions is breath work. Breathing is just amazing. Like the things that you can, like breathing is just so good for you. Journaling, that's like one of my favorite things. And like, I love to journal and like talk about like, why did I feel that way and what triggered it. Grounding is another good technique. How emotional control creates confidence, peace, and power. Your emotional maturity is your superpower. You're not weak for feeling, but you're powerful when you channel those feelings into clarity instead of chaos. So like, and that was like such a big goal of mine this year, was to be more emotionally intelligent, and regulating emotions and not being reactive was a huge one for me. And I feel like I've accomplished a lot this year in like working towards that, regulating my emotions. Responding maturely, even when it's hard, is where your growth lives. Your triggers show what needs healing. So it shows what you need to work on. If something gets under your skin, it's pointing you toward something unprocessed. And this is your inner work. So I think what I'm going to start doing in my videos is putting an affirmation for the video I'm talking about. So this affirmation that you can say to just, get into that mindset is, I am calm, grounded, and in control of how I respond. And next time you feel triggered, pause, breathe, and respond differently than you usually would. Then I would love if you could put in the comments how it made you feel, because I would love to hear more conversation about this. And if this helped you shift something for you, please subscribe and stick around. This is a space to grow, level up, and fully own your power, and I would love to go on this journey with you.